It's showtime. Welcome to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and this afternoon I am utterly delighted to be joined by Kevin McCluskey, who is dialing in all the way from Hungary. Liam Carrigan dialing in from all the way from Japan, and Lawrence Connolly from Scotland. How are you all doing, guys?
Top of the world, mate. Looking forward to demolishing them now that they're only allowed to play with one keeper.
That's right. We will be having a look at the teams. I love your confidence coming into this game. It's been all about Celtic looking after Celtic, not really focusing on what the other side are doing, not focusing on them in their press conferences, etc., because that's all we've been getting out of Ibrox is a racket. Colin Watt yesterday attended the press conference. Kevin McCluskey, there's one thing I'm going to say, is he got the best reaction of the day out of Ange Postecoglou, didn't he?
He absolutely did. Aye, I was watching that back last night, and you just, you got a mate, you got a friendly mate, you got a smile off him, and you got a laugh, and that's all you can ever want. You could probably, Colin was to die tonight, he'd probably die a happy man after that moment. It's just made his life.
I'll tell you what, it was a good, recovery by Colin, because he's gone in there with a bit of a left field question talking about reconstruction, and the big fella says to him, listen, great discussion for another time, not really my focus on the eve of a game. The big man, that's understandable. Then he throws in the second question and he gets the mate from Big Ange and a big smile as well from the big fella, and we're all going to be buying him lunch.
I had to be joking out of him as well about the lunchtime. So,
he's always self-deprecating. He's always putting himself down. I think it's a great sign, because he's not, this kind of guy who's going to be on the back foot if someone doesn't rate him or regard them highly enough. By the way, Liam, it's great to see you in that resplendent green and white set of hoops all the way over in Japan. What time is it over there for you, pal?
Just past 8 o'clock, so it's we're looking at a 8:30 kick-off, which is just perfect for me, actually, to be honest. It's nice to just sit back on a Saturday night and look forward to a good battering of our rivals.
By the way, we can't go through another bulletin without mentioning that mug. That is something else, that mug that you are. I'm not sure what you're drinking out of the mug, but it's a cracking mug nonetheless.
Well, you can't get Bovril over here, so I've got mulligatawny soup, which is about as close as you're going to get. So,
wow.
This was a wee Christmas present for the wife. So I'm just, I promised her that I would show it on air at some point. So here we go.
It's a cracker, and I've been getting slagged off about my mug, so I'll get into that at another time. I don't know why. It looks like a Partick Thistle Umbro jersey from the 1980s. But the only reason I'm drinking it is because I like the biscuits, right? The Small and Levi's sugar. Lawrence, what about yourself? What's your post-match tipple today? Is it going to be Bovril, or is it going to be something a little bit stronger than that?
I think it's going to be chilled to about 5 degrees, mate. It's going to be sparkling, and we'll be celebrating with it at the end.
Soda water.
What? Soda water, mate? No, soda water.
Right, we're getting it. Obviously, we've got the new.
I've got to come on, chilling.
Have you? Right. Well, I'll be driving, so I'll be sticking to the water, unfortunately, at the moment. Lord Flashheart, good to see Moy back today, and we will have a wee look at the teams. Give me a wee second. I'll bring the Celtic team up. This will obscure the faces of the 4 contributors, but it's going to be worth it to see. Callum McGregor, obviously, is the man who starts as the captain today, and the team itself reads Hart, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, with McGregor, Moy and O'Reilly in the midfield, and Maeda, Kyogo and Jota up top. On the bench, Bain, Haksabanovic, Turnbull, Kobayashi, Awata, Bernabe, Welsh and Vata. And we'll run through this team, because obviously all week we've been talking about who should make it, who should replace Hatate. I think first and foremost we'll start with the defence. Kevin McCluskey, great to see Taylor making it at left back, because I think that if that wasn't the case, it would have been a much bigger worry than any omissions from the midfield.
Yeah, I think so. I think to every team, obviously the first place you look at is the defence, and you want to have a solid back line that you can build from. So you know that if things aren't going well up top, you've got that solid base that you can rely on that's going to keep things tight, and you can build out from the back. That's our strongest defence that we've got at the moment that's playing, and having Taylor in there is a massive, massive boost to that. It's not supposed to be a slight on Bernabei, because I think he's a talented young player. I'm not sure he 100% fits the system of how we want to play, though. And I've always got a wee doubt over his temperament when it comes to these kind of games. So to have Taylor in there, who's got, for me, a perfect temperament for these games, big match player, very dependable. As long as he's 70-80% fit, and we can get a good minimum hour, 70 minutes out of him, I think you're looking at that being the strongest defence. You've got that base that you can build from, and it gives you confidence in as well going forward into the rest of the team. It's a little bit like when McGregor made it back for the game last year in February. That gave everyone such a boost to know that the captain was back and you had that key midfielder in. Taylor's almost got that same influence, a little bit of left back, because of what he does and what he brings. So I think it's a massive boost to have him in there. And absolutely strongest defence that we've got, strongest defence in the country. So it gives you a lot of confidence that we can go into this game and have that solid backline.
Definitely, you're right. It's a solid. It's the best defence, the most solid defence we could possibly have. It's a first choice defence. It's a first choice forward line. There's a slight change in the midfield, but when we get to the midfield and you look at the player who's replacing Hatate, it's hardly a massive downgrade. I know how big Hatate's been this season, but I've been saying all week, even Matt O'Reilly at 75% is a decent acquisition to the team. Mark Boyd, where's Abada? Abada was named as an injury along with Hatate and Forrest. That was the three injuries that Ange Postecoglou spoke about yesterday. So yeah, he is still out and he loves a goal against Rangers. So it's a bit of a blow, but more people are probably talking about Hatate. But we're talking about the defence first and foremost. Liam, that is, as Kevin says, our best defence. It's our most solid defence. And it's not a slight on Bernabei. Bernabei's come in. He's shown signs that he could be a player that we can develop into this system. It's just today might have been a bridge too far from at this stage.
Yeah, I think Bernabei and Iwata both can consider themselves a wee bit unlucky to not be starting today, because they both played well enough last week that you'd think they could have if they needed to. But fortunately, Moy has come back, Taylor's come back. And at the end of the day, when those two are fit, they are both part of the first 11. That's just the way it is at the moment. But yeah, I wouldn't get too despondent if I was either of those two players, because I think they both showed that they have a huge part to play at Celtic going forward.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a defence, Lawrence, that we've seen developing over a period of time, and we know how solid Carter Vickers and Starfelt is. We know that Starfelt often comes in for criticism, but he's still part of the best defence in Scotland 2 years running. The only other player I think that we need to mention is Johnson. Johnson's a guy who's come in, made his debut against Rangers, hasn't had a bad game, seems to be getting better and better every time we see him. And he seems to relish this type of challenge, Lawrence.
Yeah, he loves it. He's never looked out of place. Cracking engine, likes a challenge. Likes a tackle, can take a hit. I mean, my only worry about defence is Starfelt and Taylor have both been carrying injuries, and I expect both of them to be targeted and come in for some pretty heavy treatment. I don't think Taylor's at the same levels as he did before he got injured at Ibrox. So, if they're all fit, you've no worries. It's just, I think those two will get targeted for a bit of treatment just to see how they stand up. Hopefully, the action's at the other end of the park, though. That's really what we wanted to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a solid platform. It's the number one back five, isn't it? If we could pick a back five, that would be it.
Yeah, I mean, our pre-match preparations and entertainment may not be as good as Ellie Dixon singing Jota on the Wing. We did ask her, incidentally, as soon as we heard the song on Patrick Keelty's radio show to come in for an unplugged session. We offered to go and record that wherever she wanted it recorded. But I think there was a few bigger names in there for her, and obviously she will be appearing at Celtic Park today. Don't know if she'll be wearing the dinosaur outfit that she tends to wear on her social media platform, but what a cracking tune, and I love the way that's developed. Is it a lizard?
It's big lizard energy.
Right, but I mean, a lizard, they were probably kicking about in prehistoric times as well, mate. It's just like a wee miniature dinosaur, isn't it, a lizard? You know what I mean? I mean,
Slightly,
that
but,
last week
yeah.
you were bringing literature into it. Now you're bringing lizards, dinosaurs, potato. Come on. You and boy Martin has just cracked open a bottle of tonic to ease the nerves.
He's
Wow,
on tonic
before
water.
12, you're on the tonic water as well, same as Lawrence and I. Superb, big man. Superb. I hope it goes down nice and easy in that first half. Borders boy, first Guinness down the thrapple. Have a great day, everyone. Hail, hail. Come on, you boys in green. Listen, go and remind us, Liam, what is it you're drinking out of you, that Yoda mug?
It's a mulligatawny soup, so like beef curry soup.
Beef curry soup. Wow.
Nice. Maybe,
Nice
is that
one.
Yoda? The love child between Kermit and Miss Piggy, apparently.
It's the baby Yoda for the new Mandalorian Star Wars show. So it's
I've not seen the Mandalorian one.
it's a baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. You get everything on Acsom. Lord Flashheart, they have to go for it. Right. You're absolutely right. They do. Straight off the bat, they cannot afford to come out of this game with anything other than a win. And that's going to open the game up for me. I think that suits Ange Postecoglou's side 100%. Bring Warriors in to say Suter is a weak link. We will have a look at the Rangers side in that defence. No way he's keeping up with Kyogo when the afterburners are lit. So when you look at the point that Lawrence made there in relation to targeting a certain area at our park, I think when you see Suter starting for Rangers, he is definitely a target, Kevin. I mean, this is a guy who's barely played any football in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I actually think their whole defence could be targeted in a sense, but Suter absolutely, because I had Sky Sports on, I must admit, before the stream started, and I'm sure they'd mentioned it was only his second start of the season. This for Suter, he spent so long out with injury. This is the loss of Goldson for them, regardless of who's coming in, was massive anyway. But for it to be somebody that's so inexperienced this season, hasn't played that many minutes, going to be up against Kyogo, who's the best striker in the league, that's a huge ask for him to come in and perform at this level. So yeah, if Rangers are going to maybe try and target Starfelt Taylor, if they think there's a weakness there, Suter's one we've got to go after. And I don't think his partner at centre-back Davis has been particularly outstanding in games against us this season either. He was a player that when he was linked with us, we'd seen the videos and you thought, he looks like he could be a good player, quite composed in the ball, seemed to read the game well. I haven't seen it in the matches against us. So he's another one that I think we can target. Tavernier up against Maeda is always a big battle. Mm-hmm. You know, Maeda, I think he's got the, don't want to say too much too soon and touching wood all over the place, but he seems to have the matching of him defensively. And I think if he can get in behind him, he rips him to pieces offensively as well, if he's on his game, Maeda. And Barisic struggles against whoever he's up against. And likely be Jota. And Jota's obviously got Ellie Dixon up there today singing his song. He's going to be highly motivated for this. So, brilliant. I think you can look along that whole back line and go, there's weaknesses there that we can target as much as there might be one or two in our defence. He's all over that back line for them, I think. And we've got 60,000 Celtic fans behind us today. That noise is going to be incredible. It spurred us on the last time we had this scenario. And you've just got to have a bit of confidence that it's going to do the same thing again today.
No, you're right. I'm going to read out the Rangers sides. Here we go. It's McGregor, Tavernier, Suter, Davies and Barisic, Jack, Raskin, Cantwell, Tillman, Kent and Morelos. On the bench, McLaughlin, Ridvan, Ludstram, Hadji, Kolak, Kamara, Wright, Fashion Jr. and Arfield. There was some surprise, I think, in the last game, Liam, when Raskin and Cantwell didn't start. And that was one of the big criticisms, I think, of Beale's starting lineup last time round. He's gone for them this time. Does it matter? Because I think the way Celtic approach your game in relation to our own principles of the tempo in which we play, the style in which we play, I don't think it actually matters who the 11 are for Rangers. It wouldn't have changed our game plan in any way, shape or form.
No, I think particularly the midfield is not of a particular concern because the way Rangers will approach the game is they'll try and bypass the midfield anyway. That's what they did last time and the time before that. they will try to play long balls. They will try and rough us up physically. The lack of Lundstrom in that midfield, I think, makes him a good bit more lightweight. So that is a weakness, I think. And just to touch on the defence as well, I think the fact that Goldson's missing, and he is their best defender, I think, in my opinion, but he's also a bit of a threat at corners and whatever as well. So neither Suter nor Davies give them that same goal threat from set pieces. So I think that also it's a big loss to their attack as well as their defence that he's not there.
No, that's a good point. Didn't he score a couple of goals against us a few seasons back in that forgettable 2-0 game? I think, very interestingly, Lawrence, and this isn't something that I tend to look out for, but I did hear an interview with Beale pre-match either yesterday or the day before, and it was almost as if he didn't want his dibs on this team. He continually went on about the fact that it's not his team. He continually went on about the fact that this is like a hybrid side, and obviously he's not put his stamp on it. I can't remember at any point Ange Postecoglou talking in those tones, in any way, shape or form when he took over at Celtic, despite the fact that he had a huge rebuilding programme on his hands. He just got on with it. But, you don't disown the team, do you? You embrace the team. You're silent, mate. I don't know if you've put yourself on mute.
Sorry, let's hope he's disowning them at the full-time whistle. But I think with a midfielder, maybe going to try and play more through the midfield. Last time they did try and go long, as Liam said, but I think with Cantwell and Raskin, they'll probably try and play a wee bit more football. They'd be more comfortable with Iwata starting on O'Reilly, because I thought, with Iwata, Moy, McGregor would definitely win the midfield. I think we're still getting enough to win it, but I think they're going to try and play a wee bit more football this time with those two in it. But yeah, it's strange to disown his team.
We shall see.
It's strange for me to disown his team. You think he'd be wanting to give him all the back, and he can. But we should have enough to win the midfield. It's just that I think that they'll change it up a wee bit and try and play a wee bit more football with those two in.
Oh, we'll see. Michael McDonald, Ange inherited Taylor and made him a player. I think when you look at the difference in quite a few of the players that are starting for Celtic today under Ange Postecoglou, it's frightening the way that they've improved. And by the way, a player who wasn't yet Celtic but whose career has been revitalised under Ange Postecoglou is indeed Joe Hart as well. I think you've got to point that out. And Brown Warrior again comes in, fancies a Kyogo hat-trick today. He's due a big game. Yeah, would be happy with that. And Mappy finally got the Celtic TV working over in China, and I'm all ready with a few distant boys to cheer the team to victory and the treble. It's incredible that this is a game, and indeed every Celtic game, people are tuning in from all over the world, scattering about, trying to find the content. And obviously we will be here at pre-match, half-time and full-time as well. What about the midfield then? Coming at yourself, first of all, Kevin McCluskey, there was a lot of talk around who replaced Hatate. It was confirmed in the presser yesterday he didn't make it. Callum the day before had said it was touch and go. So we line up with McGregor, Moy and O'Reilly. Moy's back in. He's missed a few games through injury, and O'Reilly retains his spot on the side. This is a team that you predicted, isn't it?
It is, yeah. For once, I've managed to get it right. Usually, I get one or two or more wrong. But yeah, the full team that's on the blog. If you haven't read it yet, go and do it. That's the one we predicted. In the midfield, though, for me, yeah, I'd gone for that McGregor, O'Reilly, Moy triumvirate in the midfield, because I just feel it's the one that's best suited to this game. I had the pleasure of watching last weekend's game with Alan Morrison of Celtic by Numbers fame, and we were discussing that that the midfield, and basically Iwata didn't put a foot wrong in the whole game. He had an excellent game. It was really, really good. But having him in the team and forcing McGregor up one, where I think everybody kind of wants to see him play, it took away from McGregor's game, because he's mastered that number 6 role now, just being in there and kind of, what was it they used to call in Cham, the regulator, and that's kind of what McGregor does now, because he just gets the ball, he recycles it, he keeps things moving, his weight of pass is brilliant, his speed of pass is excellent, and he just controls the game from that number 6, and you lose a little bit of that when he moves up to the 8. So it's no disrespect to Iwata, played the 6 perfectly last week, but McGregor's a better 6. I don't think we need to go for the double pivot type of thing for this game, because we're at home and we should be taking it to Rangers. So you have McGregor back in as the 6, he keeps the speed and the tempo going. O'Reilly's better suited to being an 8 than Iwata, as far as I can see. He's another one who's due a big game for us in this kind of a match, but he's got the ability in him, because again, he can pick a pass, and when he's on form, he's a danger. And if he's not, then you've got Turnbull or Iwata that you can turn to off the bench. But I think having Moy back is just massive for us, because he's that other calming, controlling influence in the midfield. Again, he knows how to pick a pass. He assisted both the goals in the semi-final. I think he played the pass. I think he got the pre-assist for both the goals in the final. Keep on calling it a semi-final. It was the final. So he's vital. He knows how to play the big games. And that for me is just it's a really strong midfield. There's so many different options. It's attacking, but you've got guys like McGregor who know how to mix it up as well. O'Reilly's shown that he can battle back as well when he had to play in the 6 earlier on this season. So it ticks a lot of the boxes for me. And then if it isn't working, as I said, there's so many options off the bench. Turnbull, Iwata, even Haksabanovic coming on, playing more centrally as he does for the national team. We've got options.
We do have options. Liam, I'm going to come to yourself here. By the way, you and Boy Martin, today could be the day O'Reilly turns up and plays a blinder. I spoke about this yesterday. We know he's got it in him. That's the difference, Kevin. We know that O'Reilly's got that ability to play a blinder today. Could be the absolute game changer today. So yeah, always disappointed when Hatate doesn't make it, but O'Reilly is a tremendous replacement. Moy gives us a bit of needle in that midfield as well, Liam, that I think you need in a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, that was the reason why I personally would have gone with Iwata over O'Reilly today. But, I'm not the manager. I do think that from the little we've seen of Iwata, he offers a bit more physically than O'Reilly does, perhaps. But O'Reilly's played in these games before. He knows what's expected. He knows the tempo it's going to be played at. And maybe that wee bit of extra experience is what gives him the edge today. So yeah, as I say, I would have picked Iwata over O'Reilly, but I don't have any concerns about O'Reilly playing, because I know he can do it. He can hit the level that we need to win today and win well. Yeah,
no, I agree with that, and I think that the regulator, as Kevin calls him, Lawrence, he's a certain starter, but I think that in terms of where he plays, he can play any of these roles. I think as a younger player, you've seen him far more offensively, but I tend to agree. I think he is more effective as a number 6, and Iwata may well be something for the future. And I don't mean seasons down the line. I'm talking European football. It's a discussion we've had on Acsom, where we might play the game slightly differently. And for me, we don't have to do that domestically. We don't have to have 2 types of player like that in a team domestically. O'Reilly makes the cut, Lawrence. I would need to think back to when you were on the show a couple of times this week to check, but I'm pretty sure you wanted Iwata to start today.
Yeah, definitely wanted him to start. I just thought Iwata, Moy, McGregor, play that midfield, you definitely win the midfield. We've said, we're comfortable with O'Reilly, but he needs to raise his game. Right, so how comfortable are you if he needs to raise his game? There's obviously some kind of doubt what performance he's going to put in. Iwata's performance, there was no doubt about him. And I think he can play further forward as well. You can still have Callum at 6 and Iwata further forward. I think the 3, Moy, Iwata, McGregor, they can all interchange. I just thought if we played them, we definitely win the midfield. 9 times out of 10, if you win the midfield, you win the game. And I thought we didn't have a worry about any of them. Whereas O'Reilly, we know he's got it in him. It looks as if he's going to be a special player, but he's just been a wee bit off the boil. Who knows, maybe I'm just playing him through it. He might silence us all and score a couple today, or set a couple up. But that's my only worry looking at the team is, I suppose, O'Reilly, because we're looking him to get back to where we know he can be.
I think one of the best things you can do is get a player to play through any kind of patch. Did Joe Hart have a period earlier this season? Probably. Although I don't think Ange likes to say that Kyogo had lost form. A lot of people in the chat were going on about maybe Giakoumakis getting more game time at one point of the season. But Ange continually played Kyogo. He plays through it. He gets back to form. I think it's a great man management tactic that Ange has got absolutely nailed. Andrew Galea, and we're all the way over here in Australia. Welcome to the show. Hope you're enjoying it. And Michael Ross is asking, Goldson out, so who will make the big saves for Rangers? Do we have any concerns about the officials today, Kev?
Probably the same concerns you have going into every big game with the officials. Listen, it's if we play our game, then we'll have no concerns about the officials, because Celtic on form, as I've said before, in front of 60,000 fans cheering them on, should be enough for us, and then we shouldn't need to worry about the officials. There is always a concern because we know what they're like. We've seen it with the incidents in VAR, where you get some ridiculous decisions, and they've gone both ways, I suppose. But I don't have a major concern at the moment, because I think I just want to be positive, really. And I look at the team and I'll go, it's a team that's strong enough and capable enough of winning this game. And I think it would need some ludicrous refereeing intervention to stop it in a way. And I'm obviously hopeful that doesn't happen.
No, you're right. We've got the team on the park that can win this game, and I think the stage is set for that. A few people are dropping out. They'll be coming back at half-time. We'll be here as soon as that half-time whistle blows to have a look at the first half. But before we go away and enjoy the first half, up top we've got Kyogo, Maeda and Jota as well. Liam, you have been a long time fan of Maeda. He's massive on a day like today, because Rangers do have a threat down the right-hand side, and Maeda's defensive quality is massive for Celtic today.
Absolutely. And like you say, he's got, because he has the pace, he can turn that defence into attack very quickly, and he could be one of our most potent threats today. It's a big game for him, big game for Kyogo, big game for O'Reilly, and I expect them all to step up and deliver. I'm actually a wee bit unsettled, because I am as confident as I am. I'm like, you should always be slightly edgy going into one of these games, but I'm like, no, I'm very, very confident.
I always wear pink. I'm not wearing pink today, though, am I? Unless the wife's tied my top. No.
No. Your undies, maybe.
Possibly, aye. Well, what's going on underneath here, who knows? Yeah, but when we look in the top line, Lawrence, and you've got a player that obviously, an O sitting on the bench, for example, a player that can come in and make a massive impact. You've got Haksabanovic who can come on and also make a difference. But I'm also going to point to someone who we've been watching very, very closely, and Rocco Vata. Let's not forget, that's a massive inclusion for young Rocco to make it onto the bench today as well. I remember when he made his debut against Hibs at Easter Road. We played Rangers the next game, and he dropped out. Now, listen, he probably wasn't at the stage where he's going to be majorly disappointed, but today he's managed to maintain his place on the bench. And I think that's as much down to personnel in terms of giving us an option. I know he can play in a couple of different positions, but he can come on and play wide for us if necessary at some point today as well.
Yeah, listen, he must be over the moon with us, the chance to, because you've got to reckon he'll come on at some point for us. We do like to change it up top. His mum and dad must be bursting with pride. But the front three, I would have started over Kyogo at the start. I thought his physicality, especially, at that point, I thought Goldson was going to be playing, but against Suter and Davies, I think he would bully him. I thought Hull would absolutely destroy them. Hopefully Kyogo gives us a couple of goals, and by the time Hull comes on, he's able to add a couple. But yeah, it's going to be brilliant for Rudy to see his son there, and hopefully he comes on.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Dr. Nax is looking forward to seeing O coming on. And the Celtic metronome is indeed Callum McGregor. Yeah, we are missing Abad as a super sub. That's probably why Vata's made the bench. I think it's only right for us to go to the action. It looks as though most Celtic fans are tuning into the game now to see the incredible, unique atmosphere of a full Celtic park, exclusively of home fans for a big game like today. It's been an absolute pleasure. First half hour. Liam is feeling confident. Kevin and Lawrence also. I'm not going to be asking for predictions. Let's have a wee look at how things are going at half time, shall we? Thanks everybody for getting involved. 700 strong in the live stream today. Every single one of you, it's appreciated. We don't have a chance to bring up all your comments, but every one of them is appreciated. You can rest assured of that. All that's left for me to say, Kevin McCluskey in Hungary, Liam Carrigan over in Japan, and Lawrence Conley and I, thank you all for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.